No one had seen the billionaire father happy since his wife's death, until the cleaner's daughter made him laugh out of nowhere. Miles Everett adjusted his tie in the bathroom mirror. The same old face looked back, clean-shaven, hair in place, empty expression. On the outside, he looked like the successful executive everyone knew. On the inside, there was a hole he pretended didn't exist. The house was silent, always silent. He went down to the kitchen and made breakfast. Toast without butter for him, cereal with milk for Violet. He placed everything on the table without rushing routine. It was easier when everything followed a pattern. Violet appeared in the kitchen, her blonde hair still messy. 7 years old, light blue eyes like her mother's, a quietness that hurt just to look at. She sat down and started eating. Miles scrolled through his phone, checking emails. Work was always waiting, always an excuse not to look his daughter in the eye. "Finish up," he said without lifting his head. "I have an important meeting today." Violet chewed faster. She knew that when her dad talked about work, there was no room for anything else. Not for a good morning. Not for anything that reminded them they were a family. In the car, the same silence as every other day. Miles drove, thinking about the presentation he had to give. Numbers, graphs, clients to impress. Violet looked out the window, counting things that passed by. Trees, signs, people on the sidewalk. It was a game she invented to keep her mind busy. "Dad," she said, as they were arriving at school. "What is it?" His voice came out sharper than he intended. Violet hesitated, biting her lip. "Never mind." What was it? Nothing important. Miles glanced in the rearview mirror. His daughter had gone back to looking out the window, quieter than before. He almost asked again, but his phone rang. Work. Always work at the wrong time. "Hello, Johnson." "Yes, I'm on my way to the office right now." Violet sighed softly. So softly that he didn't hear it. They stopped in front of the school. Children were running and playing in the yard. Parents saying goodbye with kisses and hugs. Miles stayed in the car, engine running, still on the phone. "Bye," he muttered, covering the phone for a second. "Bye, Dad." Violet got out slowly, as if she were hoping for something different. Maybe a "call have a good day" or a "call I love you." But Miles was already talking about budgets and deadlines. She closed the door and walked toward the gate. She didn't look back. She had learned it hurt less that way. The car disappeared around the corner before she even reached the school door. Inside the classroom, Violet put her backpack away and sat at her desk. Mrs. Anderson, the teacher, smiled at her. "Good morning, dear. Did you sleep well?" Violet nodded yes. Mrs. Anderson always asked those things: how she slept, if she was hungry, if she needed anything, questions her father had forgotten to ask. "Today we're going to have a special activity," the teacher continued. "Everyone is going to draw their family and tell a story about them." Violet's stomach tightened. Draw her family. How could she draw something that didn't really exist anymore? The other children got excited. Emma raised her hand. "Can I draw my dog too?" "Of course," Mrs. Anderson laughed. "Our family includes everyone we love." Violet picked up a colored pencil and stared at the blank sheet of paper. Where to begin? Drawing her dad would be easy. A suit, a tie, a phone in his hand. But how do you draw someone who was there and not there at the same time? She started with herself. Blonde hair, blue eyes, a small smile. Then she hesitated. Should she draw her mom or not? Was she still part of the family, even if she wasn't there anymore? She decided yes. She drew a beautiful woman beside her, with hair like hers and a huge smile. The kind of smile her mom always had when she picked her up from school. Her dad was harder. She drew him on the other side, far from the two of them, looking at his phone. It seemed right that way. When it was her turn to present, the other children talked excitedly about dads who played ball, mums who baked cakes, and annoying but beloved siblings. "And you, Violet?" asked Mrs. Anderson. Violet held up the drawing and looked at it. "This is my family," she said quietly. "My mom liked to sing and make pancakes. My dad works a lot." Mrs. Anderson noticed something in the girl's tone. "And what else does your dad like to do?" Violet thought. What did her dad do besides work? Before, he used to play with her in the garden. He read stories with funny voices. He made silly faces to make her laugh during dinner. He used to tell stories, she said finally. Before? Before what? Before Mom went away? The room fell quiet. Mrs. Anderson knelt beside Violet. I'm sure he still loves to tell stories. Sometimes grown-ups get sad and forget the things they like to do. Violet nodded, but she didn't look convinced. During recess, she sat alone under a tree, still thinking about the activity. Sarah, a classmate, walked over. Why doesn't your dad ever come to the school parties? He works a lot, Violet answered, the same response as always. My dad works too, but he always comes. He says I'm more important than any meeting. Violet didn't know what to say. Was she not important enough? Did she do something wrong? Meanwhile, Miles was in his office, looking out the window. The meeting had gone well, but he couldn't stop thinking about his daughter, about the question she almost asked in the car, the sad voice when she said, "Never mind." Before, he knew everything about Violet, what her favorite color was, what stories she liked to hear, how she acted when she was nervous. Now it was like she was a stranger living in the same house. He picked up his phone to send a text, but stopped. What would he write? How's your day at school? Seemed fake after months of silence. He put the phone away and went back to work. It was safer that way. Work didn't hurt. It didn't remind him of anything painful. It didn't ask for explanations he didn't know how to give. In the late afternoon, he went to pick up Violet as usual. She came out of school with her backpack on and the family drawing in her hand. She got into the car quietly. How was your day? He asked, in a rare attempt at conversation. Fine. Miles saw the drawing she was holding. So what's that? A drawing from school. Can I see it? Violet hesitated, then handed him the paper. Miles looked at it and felt something tighten in his chest, the three of them together, but he was far away, separate, looking down. That was how she saw the family now, him as a stranger in his own drawing. It's nice, he said, handing the paper back. Thanks. The rest of the drive passed in silence. At home, Violet went up to her room without eating much dinner. Miles heated up a frozen pizza and ate alone, thinking about the drawing, thinking about the daughter he was slowly losing, thinking about the man he used to be before life fell apart. When he went to say goodnight, he found Violet already in bed, pretending to be asleep. The drawing was taped to the wall beside her bed. Good night, he mumbled from the doorway. She didn't answer. Miles stood there, wanting to go in, sit on the bed, ask about the drawing, about her day, about everything he was missing. But his feet felt glued to the floor. The words were stuck in his throat. He closed the door slowly and went down to his office. Working late always helped him not to think about the wife who was gone, the daughter who was slipping away, the father he had been before he forgot how to love. Rain began to patter against the window. Inside the house, only the sound of the keyboard broke the silence. Father and daughter slept under the same roof, but lived in different worlds. Two broken hearts that no longer knew how to find each other. A family that had become just two people sharing the same address, counting the days, not knowing that the cure might be closer than they imagined. Miles arrived at the school at the same time as always, the car engine purring softly, air conditioning on, phone in hand. The routine of picking up Violet was mechanical. Stop, wait, leave. 3 simple movements that required no thought. He was replying to an email about a budget meeting when someone knocked on the passenger window. A little girl, 5 years old, maybe younger. Messy blonde hair, bright blue eyes, a faded school uniform with a small hole in the knee. The backpack on her shoulders seemed bigger than she was, old and patched with duct tape. Miles rolled down the window, confused. Can I help you? The girl smiled, a huge smile that took up her whole face. I'm going to tell you a joke. Miles blinked. No one had spoken to him like that in months, so direct, so fearless, as if they were old friends. A joke? Yeah. She leaned on the car door, all excited. Do you know why the math book was sad? Miles looked around. Other parents were waiting in their cars, some looking in their direction. Violet hadn't come out of school yet. He could just roll up the window and ignore the child, but something about her made him hesitate. I don't know why. Because it had too many problems. The girl let out a little giggle. proud of her joke. Miles looked at her. The genuine excitement, the carefree manner, the simple joy of telling a silly joke to a stranger. And then it happened. Miles laughed. It wasn't a polite smile or a nod. It was a real laugh. It came from his chest without warning, spontaneous, as if someone had pushed a button he'd forgotten existed. The girl clapped her hands. "You're funny." Miles stopped laughing immediately, confused. Funny. He hadn't been funny in months. He hadn't been anything in months. Just a man who woke up, worked, and slept without feeling much of anything. "What's your name?" he asked, not knowing why. "Zoe. And you?" "Miles." "Hi, Miles. Are you here to pick someone up?" "My daughter, Violet." Zoe's eyes lit up even more. "I know Violet. She sits 2 seats in front of me. She's quiet, isn't she?" Miles nodded. Violet had always been more reserved, but after her mother died, she retreated even more into herself. "She draws really well," Zoe continued. "Yesterday she drew a butterfly that looked real. I tried to draw one just like it, but mine looked like a bat." She laughed at her own comparison. Miles felt the corners of his mouth wanting to turn up again. "Do you like to draw?" "I do, but I'm not very good. My mum says I just need to practice. She cleans the school, so sometimes I stay here after class and draw on the chalkboard." Miles then realized the cleaner's daughter. He had seen a woman cleaning the hallways a few times, always discreet, always working. He never paid enough attention to notice she had a daughter studying there. "Your mum works here." "Yep, she's the best cleaner in the world. She makes everything sparkle. I help sometimes, but she says kids should play, not work." The simplicity of Zoe's words stirred something inside Miles. When was the last time Violet had spoken about anything with such excitement? When was the last time he had paid enough attention to listen? "Want me to tell you another joke?" Zoe asked. Miles looked at her. The other parents in the cars around them seemed impatient, some honking softly. He should be checking emails, thinking about tomorrow's meeting, being productive. "Sure." What did one printer say to the other? "I have no idea." "Is that your paper or is it my impression?" Miles laughed again, louder this time. The joke was silly, even cheesy, but the way Zoe told it, the serious expression she made before the punchline, the proud little giggle after, it was impossible not to find it funny. "You have a lot of these jokes." "I do. My mum teaches me. She says laughing is good for the heart, that when we're sad, a joke can be like a band-aid for the soul." A band-aid for the soul. Miles stared at Zoe, this 5-year-old girl who spoke as if she knew important secrets about life. "Your mum sounds wise." "She is. When I'm sad because someone was mean to me, she tells me jokes until I stop crying. It always works." Miles felt a strange pang in his chest. When was the last time he had tried to make Violet stop crying? When was the last time he had worried about whether she was sad? "Zoe," a voice called from across the yard. A woman was approaching, a cleaning uniform, her hair tied back, a worried expression on her face. "Hi, Mom," Zoe waved. "I was telling jokes to Miles." The woman came closer to the car, looking a little embarrassed. "I'm sorry if she bothered you. Zoe is very talkative." "She wasn't a bother at all," Miles said, and realized it was true. "Tracy, she has a talent for jokes." Zoe's mother smiled, looking relieved. "She gets that from me. I've always been a clown." "Mom, tell him the one about the duck." "Not now, sweetie. The gentleman must be busy." Miles looked at the two of them, Zoe clinging to her mother, still smiling. The woman tired from work but affectionate with her daughter. A simplicity he had forgotten existed. "I'm not in a hurry," he said. Zoe clapped her hands again. "Then my mum will tell it. She tells them better than I do." The woman laughed softly and told a joke about a duck who thought he was a singer. Silly, simple, but told with such warmth that Miles found himself smiling again. That's when he saw Violet coming out of the school. Violet stopped when she saw the scene. Her father, talking to other people, smiling. She hadn't seen her father smile in so long that she almost didn't recognize the expression. "Violet!" Zoe shouted. "Hi!" Violet waved shyly and approached slowly. "Hi, Zoe. I was telling jokes to your dad. He has a great laugh." Violet looked at Miles, confused, her father laughing, with a child he barely knew. "Come on, Violet," Miles said, suddenly aware of the awkward situation. "We have to go." Violet got into the car in silence. Zoe waved through the window. "Bye, Miles. Bye, Violet. Bye. Tomorrow I'll tell you the elephant joke." Miles waved back and drove out of the parking lot. In the rearview mirror, he saw Zoe taking her mother's hand, still chattering excitedly about something. The car fell silent. Violet was looking out the window, but Miles could tell she was processing what she had seen. "Dad," she said finally. Do you know Zoe?" "No. She just came up to talk to me today." "Why?" Miles thought about the answer. Why would a 5-year-old girl approach a stranger to tell jokes? "I think she just wanted to be friendly." Violet was quiet for a few minutes. "I haven't seen you laugh in a long time." Her words hit him like a punch. Miles felt his throat tighten. "Oh? Not since Mom, not since before. You didn't laugh anymore." Miles swallowed hard. He didn't know what to say. How could he explain to a 7-year-old that he had forgotten how? How could he admit that it took a silly joke from a stranger to remember he was still capable of feeling something? "Zoe is funny," he said finally. "Yeah," Violet agreed quietly. "So she's always smiling at school." They arrived home and fell into their usual routine. Dinner, homework, good night. But something had changed. Miles felt it in his chest, a strange feeling he couldn't name. At bedtime, when he went to say goodnight to Violet, she was awake. "Dad, what is it? Are you going to talk to Zoe again tomorrow?" Miles hesitated. He hadn't thought about it. Tomorrow would be another day just like today, another mechanical pickup at school. "I don't know why. I liked seeing you laugh." Miles stood frozen in the doorway, not knowing how to respond. Violet turned to her side and closed her eyes. "Good night, Dad." "Good night." He went down to his office but couldn't concentrate on work. The laughter still echoed in his head. Simple, spontaneous, real, as if a part of him that had been hibernating had suddenly woken up. A 5-year-old girl with silly jokes had accomplished something that important meetings, million-dollar contracts, and expensive therapists couldn't. She made him remember he was still human. Miles woke up with a strange feeling in his chest. He couldn't get the previous day's laughter out of his head. Its spontaneity. How it had come out of nowhere, as natural as breathing. During breakfast, Violet ate in silence as always, but Miles noticed she was looking at him differently, as if she were waiting for something. "Dad," she said as they were nearly finished. Are you going to talk to Zoe today?" The question caught him by surprise. Miles stopped scrolling on his phone. "Why do you ask?" "Just curious." Violet went back to stirring her cereal, but Miles noticed a different glimmer in her eyes, as if the possibility of seeing him smile again was important. "Maybe," Miles said. "So as if she comes to talk to me." Violet nodded and finished her breakfast with an almost smile on her lips. In the car, instead of thinking about the morning meeting, Miles found himself thinking about the 5-year-old girl, Zoe, the faded uniform, the backpack mended with duct tape, the way she spoke about her mother with such affection. Her observation, "You look sad, mister. I always see you like this. Always like this." She was right. He was always sad, always scowling, always closed off in his own world of pain and work. He stopped at a red light and looked at the school supply store on the right. The window display was full of colorful backpacks, notebooks with shiny covers, pencil cases full of possibilities. Without much thought, he parked. "Where are you going?" Violet asked. "Just a minute." "Can I come with you?" Miles hesitated. It had been a long time since Violet had asked to go anywhere with him. "You can." Inside the store, Miles walked between the shelves without knowing exactly what he was looking for. Violet followed him curiously, touching the displayed items. "What are you going to buy these things for?" she asked. "For someone special." "Who?" Miles stopped in front of a small pink backpack with delicate butterfly designs. "Zoe." Violet's eyes widened. "Really? Really? Why?" Miles picked up the backpack, feeling the soft fabric. "Because she made me laugh, and because she deserves new things. Can I help pick things out?" Violet's question caught him off guard. She wanted to help. She wanted to be part of something good he was doing, of course. They spent 40 minutes in the store. Violet helped choose notebooks with sparkly covers, good quality colored pencils, an eraser that smelled like strawberries, colorful pens, and small star-shaped stickers. "She'll like the stickers," Violet said, placing a small pack in the basket. "Girls like stickers." "Do you?" "I do. Mum always put little stars on my notebooks when I got a good grade." Miles stopped. Violet had spoken about her mother without crying, without getting sad. She spoke like someone remembering something good. "She did do that. You remember?" "I remember. She was proud of your grades." Violet smiled, a small but genuine smile. "Let's get the stickers then, so Zoe can remember good things too." Miles put everything in a discreet bag. In the checkout line, Violet asked, "How do you feel when you do something nice for someone?" The question was too deep for a 7-year-old, but Miles thought seriously before answering, "Good. I feel good." "Is that why you're buying these things?" "Maybe. It's been a long time since you did anything that made you feel good, huh?" Miles looked at his daughter. 7 years old with a perception so accurate it hurt. "It has. I missed that." At the school, Miles parked in the same spot as always. Violet got out and walked to the entrance, but this time she turned around before going in. "Good luck with Zoe," she shouted, waving. Miles waved back, smiling. The bag was on the passenger seat, waiting. He felt a little ridiculous. A 40-year-old man buying a gift for a child he barely knew. But he also felt alive. At work, Miles had trouble concentrating. He kept thinking about Zoe's reaction, what she would say if she would like the things he chose. During the morning meeting, he found himself checking the clock, anxious for it to be time to pick up Violet. "Miles, are you listening to us?" Johnson asked. "Sorry, I was thinking about the project." Miles improvised some answer about budgets, but the truth was he was thinking about a 5-year-old girl and how to make someone happy for the first time in months. In the late afternoon, he arrived at the school earlier than usual. The bag was on the passenger seat, and he had butterflies in his stomach as if he were giving a Christmas present. When he saw Zoe leaving the school, the same mended backpack on her shoulders, the same faded but clean uniform, something in his chest tightened. She was talking to a classmate, laughing about something, her blonde hair bouncing in the wind. Zoe saw him and came running, smiling in that way that lit up everything around her. "Hi, Miles. I brought the elephant joke today, and 2 more I learned." "Hi, Zoe." Miles picked up the bag. "Before the jokes, I have something for you." Zoe stopped jumping, curious. "For me, what is it? Open it and see." Miles handed her the bag. Zoe took it with both hands, as if it were made of something precious. "Can I really open it?" "You can." Zoe opened it slowly, peeking inside first before taking anything out. When she saw the pink backpack, her eyes widened so much they seemed to take up her whole face. "Really for me? Really for you?" She took the backpack out of the bag with extreme care, as if it could break. Then the notebooks, one by one, running her hand over the shiny covers, the pencil case with colored pencils, the scented eraser, the star stickers. Zoe was quiet for a long time, just looking at everything spread out on the ground. Miles started to worry. Zoe, you don't like it." She looked up, her eyes shining in a different way, wet. "I've never had a new notebook," she said softly, almost whispering. "I always get the leftover ones." Her voice came out small, as if she were telling an important secret that was painful to say. Miles felt something shift in his chest, a different kind of pain than he was used to. "Now you do. But why did you give me this? I didn't do anything special." "You made me laugh yesterday," Miles interrupted, crouching down to her level. "It had been a long time since I laughed. You reminded me that I can still be happy." Zoe hugged the backpack to her chest. "Really? Really? And you know what? My daughter helped me pick everything out. She said you would like the stickers. Violet helped me. She did. She wanted to be a part of it." Zoe looked over Miles's shoulder and saw Violet leaving the school. She waved excitedly. "Violet! Violet! Look what your dad gave me." Violet approached, smiling when she saw Zoe so excited with the new supplies. "Do you like it?" Violet asked. "I love it. Thank you for helping me choose." "You're welcome. I picked the stickers thinking of you." Zoe hugged Violet, who was surprised but returned the hug. "You're a special friend," Zoe said. Miles watched the scene, his daughter being hugged, smiling for real, participating in a moment of genuine joy. "Now can I tell the jokes?" Zoe asked, carefully putting everything back in the bag. "You can. Why doesn't the elephant use a computer?" "I don't know." "Why?" "Because it's afraid of the mouse." Miles and Violet laughed together. It was the first time in months they had laughed at the same thing at the same time. "That was a good one," Miles said. "I have more." "Why did the chicken cross the road?" "I know this one," Violet said. "To get to the other side." "Nope," Zoe laughed. "To get the egg she forgot at the bakery." The three of them laughed. There, in the school parking lot, they looked like a strange but happy family. "Do you want me to draw something for you?" Zoe asked Miles. "Of course. Can I use the new notebooks?" "They're yours. You can use them however you want." Zoe took one of the notebooks and opened it to the first page. She sat on the ground next to the car and started to draw with her tongue sticking out, concentrating. Violet sat beside her, watching. "Can't you draw well?" Violet said. "You too. Remember the butterfly drawing?" "It looked real. My mum taught me. She drew very well." "Where is she now?" Violet hesitated. Miles came closer, worried about the question. "She died," Violet said softly. Zoe stopped drawing and looked at Violet with affection. "I'm sorry. That must be really sad." "It is. But sometimes I remember good things and it's less sad. My grandma died last year. My mum said she became a star and is watching over us from up there. Do you think my mum became a star too?" "I think so. And I'm sure she's happy seeing you and your dad having fun with me." Miles felt his eyes sting. Two little girls, one 5 and one 7, talking about death and stars with a naturalness he had lost. "Done," Zoe said after a few minutes. She showed the drawing, 2 figures side by side. The first was a man in a suit with a serious expression, sad eyes, a downturned mouth. The second was the same man, but smiling, with his arms open. Underneath, written in crooked but neat letters, "Now you're happy." Miles looked at the drawing and felt something break inside his chest, or open up. He wasn't sure, but it was good. "Can I keep it?" "Of course, I made it for you, so you can remember you can be happy." Miles carefully folded the paper and put it in the inner pocket of his jacket, close to his heart. "Thank you, Zoe. It's the most beautiful gift I've ever received. Better than an expensive gift. Much better, because it came from the heart." That's when Jenna appeared, coming from the back of the school. She stopped when she saw her daughter with new school supplies spread on the ground. "Zoe, what is all this?" "Mom, Miles gave me a new backpack, and notebooks that sparkle, and pencils that smell good, and star stickers." Jenna looked at Miles, confused and a little worried. "Sir, you didn't have to do that." "I wanted to," Miles said, standing up. "Zoe told me she's never had new school supplies, and she's brightened my last few days." Jenna blushed, embarrassed. "I buy what I can for her. It's not much, but she always has the basics." "It wasn't a criticism," Miles hurried to say. "It was just a gift. Zoe taught me something important about being happy." Jenna looked at her daughter, who was putting everything away in the new backpack with extreme care. "Say thank you to the gentleman, Zoe." "I already did, Mom. And I gave him a beautiful drawing too." Jenna extended her hand to Miles. "I'm Jenna. Thank you for being kind to Zoe. Not everyone has patience with a talkative child." "Miles, and she's special. She has a gift for making people happy. She's always been like that, since she was little, full of energy and love to give. The world needs people like her." "That's true." Jenna looked at Violet, who was helping Zoe organize the supplies. "Your daughter is a sweet girl." "She is. She's going through a tough time, but today she seems more like herself. Children heal faster than adults. They know how to forgive and move on." Miles watched Violet and Zoe together, laughing about something. "You're right." "Mum, can I use the new backpack tomorrow?" Zoe asked. "You can, my love. But you have to take good care of it." "I'll take care of it like it's a treasure." Zoe ran to Miles and hugged his legs. "Thank you for the presents. You're the nicest man in the world." Miles stood still, not knowing how to react to the hug. It had been months since anyone had hugged him with genuine affection. Slowly, he placed his hand on Zoe's head. You're welcome, Zoe. Thank you for teaching me how to laugh again." Violet came closer and, to Miles's surprise, hugged his waist too. "Thank you, Dad," she said quietly. "For what?" "For letting me help. For doing something good." Miles wrapped the two girls in a hug, one who had taught him to laugh, the other who was learning to trust him again. "Bye, Miles." "Bye, Violet," Zoe shouted as Jenna said they had to go. "Tomorrow I'll bring more jokes." In the car, Violet was quiet for a few minutes. "Dad," she said finally, "what is it? Today was a good day." "Was it?" "It was. It's been a long time since we had a good day." Miles looked in the rearview mirror and saw his daughter's blue eyes in the reflection. "It was good for me, too." Zoe really liked the presents. "She did. And you? Did you like helping to choose them?" "I did. I felt useful." "You can always be part of good things." "Really? Really?" At home, during dinner, Violet talked about her day at school in more detail than usual. She talked about art class, about a book she was reading, about how happy Zoe was with the presents. "She'll take good care of things," Violet said. "I saw she put everything away very carefully." People who have never had anything always take better care of what they're given. "How do you know that?" Miles thought about the answer. "Your mother taught me. She used to say that giving to those in need is one of the most important things in life." "Mom did that?" "She did. Every week she would take clothes and toys to orphanages." Violet smiled. "I remember her doing that. I used to help her sort the toys." "You really remember?" "I do. And today, when you gave the things to Zoe, it reminded me of Mom." "It did. It did. You were acting like her." At bedtime, when Miles went to say goodnight, Violet was awake. "What are you doing?" "A drawing for Zoe, to return the kindness." Miles came closer and saw a colorful drawing of two girls playing. "It's beautiful. It's us. Me and her as friends." "Can I ask something?" Violet said. "Of course." "The drawing Zoe made for you. Can I see it again?" Miles took the folded paper from his jacket pocket. He showed it to Violet. She looked at the drawing, the two men, one sad and one happy. "She drew the truth," Violet said. "You really were sad. And now you're a little happy." A little, but it's a good start." "It's a good start," Miles agreed. "Good night, Dad. And thank you for today." "For what?" "For showing me we can still be a family." Miles kissed his daughter's forehead, something he hadn't done in months. "Good night, Violet. I love you." "I love you too, Dad." He went down to his office but didn't open his computer. He sat in the armchair, looking at Zoe's drawing. Two men, one sad, one happy. Now you're happy. Maybe she was right. Maybe something small but important had broken inside him, or opened up. He put the drawing back in his pocket, close to his heart, and for the first time in months he went up to bed without working late. In his room, he looked at the empty side of the bed. The pain was still there, but it was different. Less sharp. "She would have liked to see me making someone happy," he mumbled to the empty pillow. And for the first time since the funeral, he believed it could be true. Miles arrived at the school a few minutes earlier than usual. He was getting used to this new routine, leaving work thinking about jokes instead of spreadsheets, waiting eagerly for Zoe's drawings instead of just completing another obligation. Zoe appeared as always, running with the new backpack on her shoulders, but today something was different. The smile didn't take up her whole face as usual. She seemed smaller. "Hi, Miles," she said, but the forced excitement didn't fool him. "Hi, Zoe, how was your day?" She shrugged and sat on the ground next to the car, hugging her backpack. "Fine." Miles frowned. Zoe never said things were just fine. To her, everything was amazing, fun, or magical. Just fine. No new jokes today. "I don't feel like telling jokes." This was definitely not the Zoe he knew. Miles turned off the engine and got out of the car, sitting on the ground beside her. "What happened?" Zoe was quiet for a moment, fidgeting with the backpack strap. "Nothing much." "Zoe? What? You can tell me. We're friends, remember? She looked at him with her blue eyes shining in a different way, not with joy, with held-back sadness. The other kids don't talk to me, she said quietly. Because my mum cleans the school. The words came out like a whisper but hit Miles like a punch. He felt his heart grow heavy, a different kind of pain than he was used to, an angry pain. What do you mean? They think I'm different, that I can't play with them because my mom works here. Sarah said her mum told her not to mix with me. Zoe spoke while looking at the ground, as if the words hurt to say. Emma said that poor people shouldn't study at the same school as rich people, and that I'm only here because my mum cleans. Miles felt anger rising in his chest. How could anyone be so cruel to a 5-year-old child? How could parents teach prejudice to their own children? They're wrong, Zoe. I know, she sighed. But that doesn't change anything. At recess, I'm alone. At lunchtime, no one sits with me. When the teacher asks us to pair up, I'm always the one left over. And the teacher doesn't notice. She tries to put me with someone, but the girls make faces. Or they pretend to be sick. It's embarrassing. Miles looked at Zoe, 5 years old, carrying a weight that not even adults should have to bear. The girl who brightened everyone's day, who told jokes to strangers, who saw kindness where others only saw obligation. Is that why you always come to talk to me? Zoe nodded. You're the only person who wants to talk to me. Besides my mom, of course. Zoe, look at me. She looked up. You are the most special person I know. You taught me how to laugh again. You taught me that I can still be happy. Those kids don't know what they're missing. But they don't want to know. To them, I'm just the cleaner's daughter. To me, you're the girl who changed my life. Zoe smiled for the first time that day, but she still looked sad. Sometimes I wish I had a real friend, someone to play with, to draw with, to share secrets with. Miles felt something stirring in his head. An idea. What if I told you that maybe you can have a friend? How? My daughter, Violet. She needs a friend too. Zoe's eyes lit up a little. Violet. But she's your family. She's rich. She's a 7-year-old girl who lost her mother and is just as lonely as you are. Really? Really? And you know what? She always talks about you. She asks if you've told any new jokes, if you like the supplies we bought. She talks about me. She does. I think you two have more in common than you imagine. Zoe hugged her backpack tighter. But what if she doesn't want to be my friend? What if she's like the other girls? Violet is not like the other girls. She knows what it's like to feel pain. And people who have felt real pain never hurt others on purpose. Or do you think she'd want to play with me? I'm sure of it. At that moment, Violet appeared, coming out of the school. She saw her father sitting on the ground next to Zoe and approached slowly. Hi, Dad. Hi, Zoe. Hi, Violet, Zoe said, suddenly shy. Miles looked at the two girls. Violet with her quiet sadness, Zoe with her wounded joy, two children who needed each other without knowing it. Violet, can I ask you something? Of course. Do you have many friends at school? Violet hesitated. Not many. Actually, none. Why? After Mom died, I got quieter, and the other kids think I'm weird. That I'm too sad. Zoe looked at Violet with interest. Are you alone at recess too? I am. I usually read a book under the tree. I'm alone too, but I draw. You draw well, Violet said. I remember the drawing you made for my dad. Do you like to draw? I do. My mum taught me. Miles watched the conversation between them, seeing something begin to happen. A timid connection, but a real one. What if you two were friends? He asked. The girls looked at each other, sizing each other up. Do you want to? Violet asked Zoe. I do, but you won't mind that my mum cleans the school. Why would I mind? That doesn't change who you are. Some kids mind. Some kids are silly, Violet said firmly. My mum always said that what matters is people's hearts, not their jobs. Zoe smiled. A real smile this time. Your mum sounded very wise. She was, and she would have liked you. Really? Really? She loved people who make others laugh. Miles felt his eyes sting. Violet was talking about her mother without pain, only with affection. using her memory to do good. "So, do you want to try being friends?" he asked. "Yes," Zoe said excitedly. "Yes," Violet agreed, smiling. "Great. How about we start now? You can draw together right here." Zoe opened her new backpack and took out the notebooks and colored pencils. Violet sat down next to her on the ground. "What should we draw?" Violet asked. "How about a family of butterflies?" "Why butterflies?" "Because they're free and beautiful, and they can fly anywhere." Violet smiled. "I like that idea." The two started to draw, sitting on the ground next to Miles's car. Shy at first, then more relaxed. Zoe talked about the colors she was using. Violet explained techniques her mother had taught her. "Your mum really understood art," Zoe said, admiring Violet's strokes. "She said that drawing was like putting your feelings on paper." "It's true. When I'm sad, I draw rain. When I'm happy, I draw the sun. And when you're nervous, I draw scribbles." Zoe laughed. Violet laughed too. Miles watched them, seeing something magical happen. Two lonely girls discovering they didn't have to be alone. "Can I ask you something?" Violet said. "Of course. How do you manage to be so cheerful all the time, even when people are mean to you?" Zoe stopped drawing for a moment. "My mom taught me something. She said we can choose how to react to bad things. We can be sad, or we can try to find something good in the middle of the sadness. And you always find it." "Not always. Today I wasn't managing, but now I've found you." Violet smiled. "Me too. It's been a long time since I wanted to draw with someone. We can draw together whenever you want." "Really? Really? Friends do that, right?" "They do." Miles checked the time and realized they had been there for over an hour. Other children had already gone home, but Violet and Zoe seemed to have forgotten the world around them. "Girls, I think we need to go." "Already?" They both complained at the same time. "Yes, but you can continue tomorrow." "Promise?" Zoe asked. "I promise," Violet said. "And maybe we can have lunch together too." "Really? Really? You can sit with me?" Zoe suddenly hugged Violet, a tight hug from a happy child. "Thank you for wanting to be my friend. Thank you for accepting me, even though I'm sad sometimes. Everyone gets sad sometimes." "It's okay." Miles helped the two of them gather their drawing supplies. As they were putting everything away, Jenna appeared. "Zoe, are you—" "Oh!" She stopped when she saw her daughter hugging Violet, both of them laughing about something. "Mom, this is Violet. She's my new friend." Jenna looked at Miles, surprised. "A friend? It seems they've found each other," Miles said. "Violet, this is my mom. Mom, this is the Violet I always talk about." "Nice to meet you, Mrs. Jenna, just Jenna, and the pleasure is all mine, dear." "Mom, can I have lunch with Violet tomorrow?" "Of course, my love, if her parents allow it." "Dad?" Violet asked. "Yes, you can." "Yay!" the two girls shouted together. As they were saying goodbye, Zoe took Violet's hand. "Thanks for today. It was the best day I've had at school." "Me too," Violet said. "It's been a long time since I had real fun." In the car, Violet was more animated than Miles had seen her in months. "Dad, what is it?" "Thank you." "For what?" "For introducing me to Zoe, for letting me have a friend. You introduced yourselves. I just facilitated. Still, thank you." Miles looked in the rearview mirror and saw his daughter's eyes shining with true happiness. "How do you feel?" "Good. Different. Like I can be a kid again." "That's how you should feel. Zoe is special, isn't she?" "She's very special. She made me remember that I can be happy even while missing Mom. Your mother would want to see you happy." "I know. And she would like Zoe too." "She definitely would." At home, during dinner, Violet told him everything she had talked about with Zoe. About the drawings, about their plans for the next day, about how good it felt to have someone to share things with. "You know what's funny?" she said. "What?" "I was feeling lonely, and so was she. But together, we don't feel lonely. That's how friendship works. Zoe said I can tell her my secrets, and that she'll tell me hers." "What kind of secrets?" "Things about Mom, things I remember about her." Zoe said she wants to get to know Mom through my stories. Miles felt his chest tighten with emotion. And you want to tell her? I do. I think it will be good to talk about her with someone who really wants to listen. It will be very good. At bedtime, Violet was making another drawing. Is that for Zoe? It is. A drawing of us as butterflies. Why butterflies? Because she said butterflies are free, and today I felt free for the first time since Mom died. Free from what? From the sadness. Not that it's gone, but today it didn't feel so heavy. Miles kissed his daughter's forehead. Good night, Violet. Good night, Dad, and thanks again. For what this time? For teaching me that I can still make friends, that I can still be happy. He went down to his office, but instead of working, he thought about the day. Two lonely girls who had found each other. Zoe, who faced prejudice because of her background. Violet, who isolated herself because of her pain. And now, they had each other. He picked up the phone and called his assistant. Sarah, I need you to cancel my 3 o'clock meeting tomorrow. Cancel. But sir, it's with the important client. Reschedule it. I have an engagement at my daughter's school. An engagement? Yes, I'm going to watch two girls discover that friendship heals almost everything. He hung up the phone and went upstairs to sleep. For the first time in a long time, he was looking forward to the next day. Not because of business or money, but because of two butterflies that were finally learning to fly together. Miles went up to his room still smiling. Seeing Violet and Zoe together, drawing butterflies and planning for tomorrow, had filled his chest with a lightness he hadn't felt in a long time. It was as if the whole house was breathing differently now. He took off his jacket and, as always, touched the inner pocket where he kept Zoe's drawing. Now you're happy. Her words echoed in his head, but today not as a distant promise, today as a reality. He sat on the edge of the bed and looked at the nightstand. On the right side, where she always slept, was a drawer he hadn't opened in 6 months. A drawer full of things that hurt too much to touch. Today, something different pulled his hand toward the drawer. He took a deep breath and opened it. There were her reading glasses, still folded as she always left them. The perfume she wore every day. A little notebook where she jotted down recipes and thoughts. And at the bottom, protected by a silk scarf, a framed photo. Miles picked up the photo carefully, as if it could break. It was from 3 years ago, a spring Sunday in the park. Violet, 4 years old, sitting on his shoulders, laughing at something her mother was doing behind the camera. He himself appeared smiling, a real unforced smile. And next to him, with her arm linked through his, was her, Eleanor. Wavy brown hair loose in the wind, green eyes shining with happiness, that smile that lit up any room. She was wearing a yellow floral dress, his favorite. Violet held a soap bubble wand in her hand. Miles looked at the photo, expecting the familiar pain, the pang in his chest that always came when he remembered her, the lump in his throat that made him push the memories away. But the pain didn't come. Instead, something different came, softer, like a hug from a memory, longing, but a good kind of longing. Elena, he murmured, tracing his finger over her face in the photo. For the first time since the funeral, he said his wife's name without it hurting, without the air growing heavy, without the world collapsing around him. He remembered that day in the park. Elena had insisted they take Violet to see the ducks in the lake. She needs some fresh air, she had said, and so do we. Miles had complained. He had work to finish, reports to review. But Elena laughed and took his hand. The work will always be there. Violet will only be 4 years old once. As always, she was right. They spent the whole morning chasing after Violet, who wanted to feed all the ducks in the lake. Elena brought old bread in a bag and was explaining to her daughter about the different types of birds. Miles remembered thinking, at that moment, that life couldn't be more perfect. His family, the sun on his skin, Violet's laughter echoing through the park. Now looking at the photo, he realized Elena had been right about everything, about enjoying the simple moments, about paying attention to the important things, about teaching Violet to see beauty in the little things, and about making others laugh. Elena was always telling jokes to Violet. Silly jokes, like Zoe's. She used to say that laughter was the best medicine for any sadness. Zoe reminds me of you, Miles said to the photo. The way she sees the world, the desire to make others happy. He closed his eyes and could almost hear Eleanor's voice. You would have liked Zoe, and you'd be proud to see Violet making friends with her. He opened his eyes and looked at the photo again. This time, he managed to smile. They're helping each other, you know. Violet is starting to be a kid again. And Zoe taught me how to laugh again. He walked to the window, still holding the photo. Outside, the street was quiet. A few houses with lights on, families having dinner, children doing homework, life happening. I got lost after you were gone, he said to the photo. I forgot how to be a father. I forgot how to be happy. I thought being sad was the only way to honor your memory. He rested his forehead against the cool glass of the window. But today, I understood something. Violet needs a present father, and I can still be happy. That doesn't mean I love you any less. A tear rolled down his face, but it wasn't from pain, it was from relief. Thank you, he murmured, for being the perfect mother to our daughter, for teaching me how to truly love, for leaving such beautiful memories that today, instead of hurting, they make me smile. He went back to the bed and placed the photo on his nightstand. For the first time since Elena's death, he wanted the photo to be visible. He wanted to wake up seeing her face every day, not to torture himself with her absence, but to remember the love. He opened her little recipe notebook and flipped through the pages. The neat, small handwriting, notes about special ingredients. On one page, he found something that made him smile. A recipe to cure any sadness, 1 cup of love, 2 spoons of patience, a handful of silly laughs, and lots of affection. Mix everything together and serve with hugs. Typical Eleanor, turning even a recipe into a life lesson. You were right about everything, he said, touching the page. And now I know I can miss you without drowning in it. He went downstairs to check if Violet was asleep. He found her in her room, finishing the butterfly drawing, still awake. Just finishing this, she said, showing him the drawing. To give to Zoe tomorrow. Miles came closer. It was a beautiful drawing, 2 butterflies flying together toward the sun. It's beautiful. You know what Zoe told me today? What? That when her grandmother died, she was very sad, but her mum told her that the people we love never really go away. They keep living in our hearts. Miles felt his chest tighten with emotion. And what did you think of that? I think she's right. Mum is still here. Violet touched her chest. Right here. And when I remember the good things, it's like she's smiling with me. That's exactly right. Dad, what is it? Do you feel Mom in here too? Miles sat on the edge of the bed. I do. I felt it a lot today. How so? I remembered a day we spent at the park. You were very little. Mum spent the whole day teaching you about the ducks. Violet smiled. I remember. She said they spoke a special language. You really remember? I remember some things. Her smell, her singing voice, the stories she told. Those memories are treasures, Violet. I know. And today, talking to Zoe about it, I realized I can hold on to these memories without being sad. I can use them to feel closer to Mum. Miles kissed his daughter's forehead. Your mother would be very proud of you. You think so? I'm sure of it. She loved seeing you happy, and today you were truly happy. I was, and so were you, Dad. I really was. Mum would like that, wouldn't she? Seeing us happy again, she would love it. Violet put her pencils away and settled into bed. Good night, Dad, and thank you for letting me have a friend. Good night, my love. Miles went downstairs and straight to his bedroom. He didn't go to his office, didn't check emails, didn't think about work. He lay in bed looking at Elena's photo on the nightstand. Today was a good day, he said to her. Violet made a friend. I learned to laugh again, and for the first time since you've been gone, I was able to remember you without crying. He closed his eyes, and for the first time in 6 months, he fell asleep without having to force himself not to think about her. On the contrary, he fell asleep thinking about the good things, the love they had, the beautiful daughter they raised together, the memories no one could take from him, and he dreamed of butterflies flying free toward the sun. Miles woke up with a feeling he hadn't had in months, the desire to do something different, not work on a Saturday, not stay at home looking at emails, to do something fun. He went down to the kitchen where Violet was already awake, drawing at the table. "Good morning." "Good morning, Dad. Look." She showed him the drawing, him, her, and Zoe in the park, all smiling. "This is for when I tell Zoe about the day you took me to see the ducks." Miles looked at the drawing and had an idea. What if we went to the park today? "For real?" Violet dropped her pencil. "Really? Really? We can invite Zoe too." Violet's eyes lit up. "Really? Can I call her?" Miles called the school and got Jenna's number. He explained the idea of the outing, feeling a bit nervous. "Of course she can go," Jenna said. "Zoe is going to be ecstatic." 2 hours later, Miles was parking in front of the small apartment building where Zoe and Jenna lived. It was a simple building, but well kept. Zoe came running out before they even knocked on the door. "Miles! Violet! I couldn't believe it when my mom told me." She was wearing a simple but clean dress, her blonde hair in 2 braids. She carried a small backpack with flower designs. "I brought colored pencils," she explained, "in case we want to draw in the park." Jenna appeared at the door, looking a bit shy. "Thank you for inviting her." She barely slept from the excitement. In the car, the 2 girls chatted excitedly in the back seat. Miles listened to their plans: feed the ducks, play on the playground, draw on the grass. "Dad," Violet said, "thank you for today. We haven't even gotten to the park yet. It doesn't matter. Thank you for wanting to go." The park was crowded for a sunny Saturday, families having picnics, children running, parents pushing swings. Miles felt a pang of nostalgia. He and Elena used to come here when Violet was smaller. "This is it," Violet shouted. "This is where Mom brought me to see the ducks." Zoe took her hand. "Let's see if they're still here." The 2 of them ran off toward the lake. Miles followed more slowly, watching Violet more animated than he had seen her in a very long time. At the lake, Zoe took a bag of bread out of her backpack. "My mom said to bring this for the ducks." They started throwing crumbs into the water. The ducks approached quickly, making their characteristic quacking sounds. "They're saying thank you," Zoe laughed. "How do you know?" "My mom taught me. She said if we listen with our hearts, we can understand any language." Miles smiled. Jenna seemed to have the same simple wisdom that Eleanor had. "Dad, come throw some bread too," Violet called. Miles went over and took some crumbs. It had been years since he had fed ducks. The feeling was strange to feel like a child again at 40. "This one is the greediest," Zoe said, pointing to a duck. "I'm going to call him Greedy." "And that one?" Violet asked. "That one is shy. Look how he stays away from the others." Miles watched the 2 girls giving names to each duck. The natural creativity of children, which he had forgotten existed. "And you, Miles, which duck do you choose?" Zoe asked. Miles looked around and saw a duck swimming alone, but in no hurry. "That one, the thinker." "Why the thinker?" "Because he looks like he's reflecting on life," Zoe laughed. "Just like you. You always look like you're thinking about important things." Miles laughed. It was true. He was always thinking about work, problems, responsibilities. "Saturday, I don't want to think about anything important." "Then let's go to the playground," Zoe shouted. The playground was busy. Violet and Zoe ran straight for the swings. "Miles, come push us," Zoe requested. Miles went to push the 2 of them on the swings. At first it was mechanical, but gradually he started to notice their joy. The shouts of "higher," the laughter when they gained speed. "Now you," Violet said when she stopped. "Me what? You're going to swing." "Violet, I'm too big to—" "No, you're not," Zoe interrupted. "My mum says grown-ups who forget how to play get sad on the inside." Miles looked at the swing. When was the last time? It must have been 30 years ago. "Go on, Dad, it'll be fun." A bit awkwardly, Miles sat on the swing. The 2 girls positioned themselves behind him. "We're going to push you," Zoe said. The 2 of them started pushing with all their might. Miles barely moved, but he pretended he was flying high. "I'm flying!" he shouted, exaggerating. The girls laughed and pushed harder. Suddenly, Miles was actually swinging a little and feeling, "I'm free." "Hiya," he shouted, getting into the game. "You're funny now," Zoe said, out of breath from pushing. Miles stopped swinging and looked at her. "Now, before, you were serious. Now you know how to play." Violet came closer and smiled. "He's coming back." "Coming back how?" "Coming back to being my dad. The dad who used to play with me before Mom died." Miles felt something stir in his chest. Violet was right. He was starting to be who he was before. Not exactly the same. The pain of loss would always be there, but someone who could be happy despite it. "Let's go to the slide," Zoe said. "I'm not going to be able to." "Yes, you are. We'll go together." And that's how Miles found himself going down a slide with two little girls, one on each side, the three of them screaming in surprise and laughing at the same time. "Again," Zoe requested when they reached the bottom. They did it 5 more times. Then it was the merry-go-round's turn. Miles pushed while the girls spun and shouted for him to jump on with them. On the 6th turn, he jumped on. He spun with them, holding tight to the iron bars, the world blurring around them. For a moment, he completely forgot his problems. He was just a man playing with 2 little girls on a sunny Saturday. "Stop, I'm dizzy," Violet laughed. They stopped, all stumbling and laughing. Miles sat on the grass, dizzy and happy. "Ice cream now," Zoe declared. They went to the park's ice cream parlor. Miles ordered 3 cones, chocolate for Violet, strawberry for Zoe, vanilla for himself. "Miles," Zoe said, licking her ice cream, "why were you sad before?" Violet fell silent, waiting for the answer. Miles thought about how to explain it simply. When people we love die, we get very sad, and sometimes the sadness is so big that we forget we can still be happy. But you remembered. You two reminded me. How? You showed me that there are still good things in life, that it's still worth smiling. Zoe nodded seriously. My mum always says that after the storm, the sun always comes out. After the ice cream, they went to an area with softer grass. Zoe took the colored pencils out of her backpack and the 3 of them started to draw. "Draw the park," Violet suggested. Miles tried to draw the trees, the lake, the playground. It wasn't very good, but the girls praised it as if it were museum art. "Now let's make soap bubbles," Zoe said, taking a small container from her backpack. She started making small and large bubbles that flew with the wind. Violet tried to pop some. Miles watched, enchanted by the simplicity of their joy. "You try," Zoe said, offering him the wand. Miles made a few bubbles. One came out huge and shiny. The girls clapped. They spent 20 minutes making bubbles. Miles found himself running after them like a child. At one point, he tripped and fell on the grass. Instead of getting up angrily, he lay there looking at the sky. The girls threw themselves down beside him. "Do the clouds look like anything?" Zoe asked. Miles looked up. It had been years since he had stopped to watch the clouds. "That one looks like an elephant," Violet said. "And that one looks like a giant ice cream cone." Zoe laughed. "And that one?" Miles pointed. "It looks like a butterfly," Violet said. "A giant butterfly flying to a happy place," Zoe completed. They lay there on the grass, watching the clouds and making up stories. Miles couldn't remember the last time he had felt so at peace. As the sun began to set, Zoe sighed. "This was the best day of my life." "Mine too," Violet said. "For me, it was special," Miles said. On the way to Zoe's house, when they arrived at the building, Jenna was waiting at the door. She smiled when she saw her daughter, all disheveled and happy. "How was it?" "It was amazing, Mum. We played everything. And Miles went down the slide with us." Jenna looked at Miles, surprised. "He went down the slide?" "I did," Miles laughed. "And on the merry-go-round too." Zoe hugged Miles and Violet. "Thank you for the best day of my life." "Thank you," Miles said, "for teaching me how to play again." When Zoe went into the building, Jenna approached Miles. "Can I talk to you for a minute?" Violet stayed in the car while Miles and Jenna talked outside. "I wanted to apologize," Jenna began. "Apologize? For what? If in any way Zoe or I are being an inconvenience, I know you have a different life from ours." "Jenna," Miles interrupted, "you don't have to apologize for anything. I do. Zoe is sometimes very affectionate, very direct, and I know that for people like you, people like us, important people. Rich." Miles looked at Jenna, A woman who worked hard, raised her daughter alone, and still worried about bothering others. Jenna, today was one of the best days I've had in a long time. You are not bothering anyone. Quite the opposite. Really? Really? In fact, I should be the one thanking you. Thanking me? You gave me back something I thought I had lost forever. What? The ability to be happy. Jenna smiled, looking relieved. Zoe has that gift, always has. She sees kindness where others don't, and you've taught her well. I try, but it's hard sometimes. No one has ever really seen us. Miles felt his chest tighten. You're not invisible. We are at school, in the places we go. We're just the cleaning staff. To me, you are an incredible family. Jenna looked at him, as if trying to figure out if he was being sincere. Today, my daughter has a friend that had never happened before. Her voice trembled a little. Zoe has always been excluded because of what I do. The other children don't want to play with her. That's terrible. It is. But today she came home saying she has a best friend, that there's a grown-up who really listens to her, that she feels important. Miles felt his eyes sting. She is important. To you, maybe. But to the world, we're just people who clean up other people's messes. Jenna, look at me. She looked up. You two have changed my life. Zoe taught me to laugh again. She taught me that kindness costs nothing. And you have raised an incredible girl. Thank you, she murmured. No, thank you. For raising someone so special, for giving my daughter the friend she needed. Jenna smiled, this time without shyness. Zoe is going to want to do this again. And we will want to as well. When Miles got back to the car, Violet asked, What did you talk about? About friendship, and about how special people sometimes don't know how special they are. On the way home, Violet was quiet for a while. Then she said, Dad, I think Mom would be happy today. Why? Because you were playing again. You were being yourself again. Miles smiled, feeling his chest warm. You're right, she would be happy. And proud too. For making Zoe happy. Mum always liked it when you made people smile. At home, before bed, Violet came to say goodnight. Dad, what is it? Today was the best Saturday since Mom died. For me too. Can we do this more often? We can, whenever you want. And can Zoe always come? Always. Violet smiled and hugged him. I love you, Dad. And I think we're going to be okay. We're going to be okay, Miles agreed, kissing his daughter's forehead. We're going to be very okay. That night, Miles fell asleep with the sound of the girls' laughter echoing in his head, and he dreamed of butterflies, talking ducks and soap bubbles that never popped. The following week brought a new and good routine for the Everett family. Every afternoon after school, Violet and Zoe would meet in the schoolyard to draw, tell jokes, and plan adventures. Miles would arrive a few minutes early just to see them together, laughing at things only they understood. It was Thursday when Jenna approached his car, looking shyer than usual. Miles, can I talk to you for a minute? Of course. The girls were busy showing each other their drawings, so Miles and Jenna walked a few steps to the side. I wanted to thank you again, she began. Zoe is different, happier, more confident. She was always special, Jenna. She just needed someone to notice. Yeah, but it's not just that. Jenna hesitated, fidgeting with her purse strap. Yesterday she came home saying a girl from her class wanted to sit with her at lunch. The first time that's ever happened. Miles smiled. Zoe is opening up, and the other kids are realizing what we already knew, that she's incredible. Violet has changed too. She's more present, more herself. They complete each other somehow. Jenna nodded, still nervously fiddling with her purse. Miles, can I tell you something? You can. I don't know why, but I feel like I can trust you. And there's something that might explain why this friendship is so special. Miles was curious. Jenna rarely talked about herself. Go on. Jenna opened her purse and took out an old brown leather wallet. The corners were worn with time, the seams a bit loose. This wallet was my mother's. She died when Zoe was 2. I'm sorry. Thank you. But I want to show you something. Jenna opened the wallet carefully and took out a small, time-yellowed photo. It was a black and white picture, clearly old. This photo has always been in here. My mother treasured it. Miles looked at the image, two women sitting on a park bench. One was clearly younger, in simple but well-kept clothes, her dark hair tied in a bun. The other was older, elegant, wearing a light-colored dress and a small hat. Both were smiling at the camera, but not a posed smile. It was genuine, warm. "The younger one is my mother, Clara," Jenna said, gently touching the photo. "She was in her early 20s here. And the other one," Jenna smiled fondly, "someone very special." Miles kept looking at the photo, something familiar stirring in his memory. The older woman had delicate features, kind eyes, a way of smiling that... His heart stopped. It was his mother, Margaret Everett. "She helped us through a tough time," Jenna continued, not noticing Miles's expression. "My mother was going through a difficult phase. She had lost her job, was having trouble paying rent, and this woman, she appeared in my mother's life like an angel." Miles held the photo with trembling hands, trying to process what he was seeing and hearing. "How did they meet?" "My mother used to clean offices downtown. One day she was crying on a park bench during her lunch break. This woman approached and asked if she was okay." Jenna took the photo back and looked at it tenderly. "My mother always said it was the first time in her life that someone from a different social class looked at her as an equal. Not with pity, not with superiority, as an equal." Miles felt his eyes sting. He knew that trait of his mother well. Margaret Everett always treated everyone with the same respect, regardless of their social status. What happened next? "They talked on that bench for almost an hour. My mother told her about her struggles, about her fear of being evicted. And this woman, she didn't offer charity, she offered dignity." "What do you mean?" "She said she needed someone to help with cleaning her house a few times a week. She offered a job, not a handout, with a fair wage, respectful treatment." Miles closed his eyes. It was exactly what his mother would do. "My mother worked for her for 2 years, but it was more than a job. This woman was interested in her life, asked about her dreams, her plans. When my mother got pregnant with me, she was the first to celebrate." "Did they keep in touch?" "Until the end. Even after my mother got other jobs, they would meet on that bench from time to time, just to talk like friends." Jenna put the photo back in the wallet with extreme care. "My mother used to say that this woman taught her that kindness has no social class, that all people deserve respect and dignity." Miles swallowed hard, fighting the emotion that threatened to overflow. "And you? Did you ever meet her?" "When I was little, yes. I vaguely remember a very elegant lady who always smiled when she saw me. Who brought sweets and let me play in her garden." Miles's eyes filled with tears. He remembered those days, a little girl running through the family's garden while her mother talked to a woman in the kitchen. "But she died when I was still a child," Jenna continued. "My mother was devastated. She said she lost more than an employer. She lost a true friend." "How do you know she died?" "My mother went to the funeral. She said she had never seen so much love in one place, that the church was packed with people from all social classes crying for her." Miles remembered his mother's funeral. It had really been like that. Simple people next to businessmen, all united in the grief of losing someone special. "Why are you telling me this?" Miles asked, his voice a bit hoarse. Jenna glanced toward the girls, who were drawing while sitting on the grass. "Because ever since you came into our lives, I've been feeling the same thing my mother felt with that woman." "What thing?" "That kindness is hereditary. That good people raise good children, and that sometimes the universe brings the right people together at the right time." Miles couldn't answer. The lump in his throat was too big. "You treat me as an equal, Miles. You treat my daughter with genuine affection, and that is rare." "Jenna, let me finish." She took a deep breath. "I don't know what kind of family you had, but I bet you learned this from someone special. Someone who taught you that all people have value." Miles nodded, unable to speak. "And now you're passing that on to Violet, teaching her to see beyond appearances, to value people for who they are on the inside." The two were silent for a moment, watching the girls. Violet was teaching Zoe a shading technique, both of them focused on their drawing. "They're true friends," Jenna said. "They are. As if they were destined to meet." Miles looked at Jenna, then at the girls. A strange feeling washed over him, as if life were a big circle and they were closing a full loop. His mother had helped Jenna's mother. Now Jenna's daughter was helping him, and the granddaughters, because that's how he thought of Zoe now, as a sort of god-granddaughter, were helping each other. "Jenna," he said finally. "Yes. Thank you for telling me that story." "Why?" "Because it reminded me that kindness echoes through time, that the good deeds we do today can touch lives we can't even imagine." Jenna smiled. "My mother always said that kindness is like a stone thrown into a lake. The ripples spread out, touching shores we can't even see." Miles thought about the phrase. His mother had thrown a stone of kindness into the lake of Clara's life. Now, years later, Zoe was being one of those ripples, reaching him and Violet when they needed it most. "Can I ask you something?" Jenna said. "Of course." "What happened to your mother? Is she still alive?" Miles shook his head. "She passed away 5 years ago, cancer." "I'm so sorry." "Was she a good person?" Miles smiled through the tears that threatened to fall. "She was the best person I knew, always worried about others, always trying to help. She used to say, 'God gave us 2 hands, one to hold on and one to reach out.' She taught you well." "She tried. Unfortunately, it took me a while to remember her lessons. What's important is that you remembered." Just then, Zoe came running up to them, holding a drawing. "Miles, look what Violet taught me to draw." It was a drawing of 2 butterflies flying over a garden full of flowers. "It's beautiful, Zoe." Violet said butterflies symbolize transformation, that they start out ugly and turn into something beautiful. That's true. Just like our friendship, it started with silly jokes and turned into something beautiful. Miles looked at Jenna, who was smiling with teary eyes. "That's exactly right, sweetie," Jenna said. Sometimes the most beautiful things in life are born from the simplest things." Violet approached too, carrying her drawing supplies. "Dad, can we go home? I want to show you my new drawings." "Of course." As the girls said their goodbyes, Miles watched Jenna put the wallet back in her purse. She didn't know he had recognized the woman in the photo, and he decided he wouldn't tell her, at least not yet. But he knew that moment had changed something inside him, the feeling that everything was connected, that life had an almost magical symmetry. His mother had helped Jenna's mother decades ago. Now Jenna's daughter was helping him heal. The daughters, his and hers, were healing together. It was as if Margaret Everett was still looking after her family, even after her death, through Zoe, through Jenna, through the lessons of kindness she had planted and which were now blooming in Miles's life. In the car, Violet asked, "What did you talk about today? You seem different." "We talked about how good people leave marks on the world." "What kind of marks?" Miles thought about the answer as he drove. Invisible marks, gestures of affection that echo through the years, lessons of kindness that are passed from one generation to the next. "Like Grandma Margaret used to do." Miles smiled. Violet remembered her grandmother fondly. "Exactly like Grandma Margaret used to do. I think she would like Zoe and Jenna." "I'm sure she would." "Why?" "Because they have the same kind of heart she had. Generous, warm, without prejudice." Violet was quiet for a few minutes, processing. "Dad, what is it?" "Sometimes I feel like Grandma is still looking after us." Miles felt his chest tighten with emotion. "How so?" "Like she put good people in our path, to help us when we needed it most." Miles looked in the rearview mirror and saw his daughter's blue eyes shining with a wisdom that was beyond her years. "You might be right. I think I am." That night, Miles spent a long time looking out his bedroom window, thinking about the photo Jenna had shown him, thinking about his mother, about the chain of kindness she had started, about the ripples that were still spreading across the lake of life. Her mother helped mine. Now her daughter has helped me, he murmured to the stars outside, and for the first time since Elena's death, he felt he was part of something bigger, of a story that began long before he was born and would continue long after he was gone, a story of good people taking care of each other, across time, across generations, through a love that never completely dies. The story had come full circle, and Miles knew that his mother, wherever she was smiling. Days later, Miles arrived at the school and saw a scene that made him smile. Violet and Zoe were walking hand in hand through the entrance, laughing at something only they understood. Their blonde hair swayed in the same rhythm, like real sisters. Other children greeted them. Some even ran to walk alongside them. The transformation was incredible. Two girls who once felt alone were now liked by everyone. "Dad!" Violet shouted when she saw him at the end of the day. "You have to see the bulletin board." "The bulletin board?" "Mrs. Anderson asked everyone to draw my best friend," Zoe explained excitedly. They walked to the classroom, where there was a colorful board full of children's drawings. Miles found the two girls' drawings. Zoe's drawing showed Violet with enormous colored wings, flying above the clouds. Below, written in neat letters, "My best friend has wings because she taught me how to fly." Violet's drawing showed Zoe holding a bright golden star with a huge smile on her face. The caption read, "My best friend holds stars because she lights up my world." Miles felt his eyes sting with emotion. "They're beautiful." "Mrs. Anderson said they are the most special in the class," Zoe said proudly. "Because they show real friendship," Violet added. In the parking lot, Jenna was waiting, talking to other parents. When she saw the girls, she broke into a huge smile. "How was your day, my love?" "Perfect, Mom," Zoe said. "So I show her the drawings, Violet." Violet showed her the photos she had taken of the drawings. Jenna looked at them fondly, her eyes shining with pride. "You two are true artists." "And best friends in the world," Zoe declared. "Best friends in the universe," Violet agreed. Just then Zoe got that mischievous look that Miles knew so well. "Miles, I have a new joke for you." "I'm listening." Zoe paused dramatically, smiling. "Do you know what the sun said to the shadow?" Miles pretended to think seriously. "I don't know. What did it say?" "You only show up when I'm leaving." Miles, Violet, and Jenna laughed together. It was a simple joke, but told with such enthusiasm that it became hilarious. "Yeah, that was a really good one," Miles said. "I learned it from my mum last night," Zoe said, hugging Jenna affectionately. As the girls continued talking, Miles and Jenna stepped aside. They watched Violet and Zoe sitting on the grass, drawing something new together. "Look at them," Jenna said quietly. They look like sisters." "It's hard to imagine one without the other now," Miles nodded. In just a few weeks, the two had become completely inseparable. "Zoe is different since she met Violet," Jenna continued. "Violet too, more confident, more herself." They healed each other. The two were silent for a moment, just watching the girls. They didn't need to say anything. They both knew they were witnessing something very special. "Miles," Jenna said finally, "Thank you." "For what?" "For letting this happen. For not stopping it when Zoe approached you that first day. Thank you. For raising such a special girl who changed our lives." Violet and Zoe came over, each holding a new drawing. "Look what we made." It was a drawing of the four of them, Miles, Violet, Zoe, and Jenna, all holding hands with huge smiles on their faces, under a bright sun and surrounded by colorful flowers. "It's us," Zoe explained. "Our new family." Miles looked at the drawing and felt his chest fill with a warm emotion. Family. That was exactly what they had become. "It's perfect," he said. When it was time to say goodbye, Zoe hugged Miles as she always did. "Thank you for being my friend, Miles. Thank you for teaching me how to laugh again." "See you Monday," she shouted, taking her mother's hand. "See you Monday," Violet replied, waving. Miles and Jenna exchanged a look of mutual understanding, of silent gratitude, of recognition that something very special had happened in their lives. They didn't need to say anything. They knew. They knew that two lonely girls had found each other and healed one another, that a lost father had rediscovered joy, that a hard-working mother had found a family of the heart. They knew that silly jokes could mend broken hearts, that kindness was contagious, that true friendship knew no social barriers. They knew that, after searching for so long, finally, everything was in its right place. If this story touched your heart, Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next ones. Leave a like because it helps this story get recommended to more people. See you in the next story.